All right, just went down to my local hardware store, picked up this lump of steel. It's not quarter thick, but a couple of layers of that together. My reason for purchasing it is, one, to do this particular modification. The other is I need some steel to mount my condenser. So I've got that. Here also I purchased the screws and washers for fitting the rear boot panels. And what I love about America is I also picked up this ammunition for one of my guns. Don't you love it? A hardware store, you can go and you pick up steel, screws and bullets. Fuck me, I love America. All right, I have the edition attached with some absolutely wonderful welding from Mr. Amateur, yeah, me. Now, if I can get round here and show you that. So I've just done a little weld down the back there. I'm not going to clean that weld up. I figure it gives it more strength. We come back round here. This weld I will clean up. I'll make it look purty. And I will be trimming this to make that look purty, and do the same down there. I'll make that look purty too. Oops, sorry, you missed that. Yep, that. Make it all look purty, purty, purty. I'm going to weld up these holes. The other two I'm going to leave. Then I'm going to decide WTF. Yeah, I don't... I mean, they're fucking big holes. I don't think I need bolts that big. But what I'm going to do on the inside of the car is I will have, and let's do it over this side because that's where it's going to happen. There will be a metal plate inside the car that will have nuts welded to it, and then I will probably weld the plate. Oh, come on, back up. Sorry about this. Hang on. Oh, you bastard, stop it. I'm going to spank this camera in a minute. Right. There will be a plate inside the car that will cover these two holes, and they will have nuts welded to it, and it will be welded to the floor. So, in theory, that should be fucking strong. Yep. Whew. Well, this is a darn sight easier than that fucking alternator one, I can tell you that. Especially as nobody's going to see it unless they crawl under the car. Okay, that's enough on this. Let's get it cleaned up and ready. I'm sorry, folks. Bad news. I'm not going to make it to Barrett & Jackson. My wife was called up for jury duty, and we have doggies. And I don't like to leave them alone for too long. Therefore, I can't leave my house for the next 8 days. She has a case in New York, don't be an idiot, a case in Phoenix in the Supreme Court. And because of that, I'm not going to be able to go to Barrett & Jackson, which is a great shame, but what she's doing is much more important than me going to a car show. So sorry to disappoint any of you that were looking forward to my rather stunning and brilliant diatribe at the show. You will have to get it from those boring people that don't know what they're doing. All right, there you go. Sorry about that. Right, Looks like I may have to modify this purely because the gearbox mechanism there kind of gets in the way. I think, not sure, I think I've got this gap here and I've got to bring this tunnel further forward, which means I will have to cut this out around here. And that's fine, that's okay. You know, I haven't got all the leather cut yet, so that's not going to be a problem. But I got to make sure everything fits once I get the gearbox in. And I may have to do the modifications when I'm doing the interior. I could lower the gearbox a little bit. That'll give me a little more room to move it, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I really don't. That tunnel there, yeah, that's. I'm going to have to change that, which is a shame, but there you go. It's what you got to do when you're doing all this modernisation. Right. I've got that panel there, or piece, sorry. That piece there, that has to go in, and that obviously goes in over here. Goes in here, and then there's a box that sits here. In all honesty, I'm not remembering what goes onto that silver bracket up there. Maybe it should be the other way up. Nah, I don't think so. It could be just the centre panels there. I'm not sure. That I'll all figure out when the time comes. Yeah. Blimey. I had a lot to do. All right, let's get on and get the gearbox mount finished. Okay, here is the prop shaft. Now, because I'm doing the gearbox mount, I want to get the angle of the prop shaft, I want to say correct, and how it should be the best angle I can get. So, I've had this shaft for, gosh, must be 2 or 3 years now. So let's get it unwrapped. It's nice and new and shiny. I should somewhere. Let's see if we can do this without scratching it. I'll tell you what, if I do that, that'll stop me scratching it, won't it? Okay. Just put that to one side. Alright. Now, I have changed the end here. Ooh. Oh, those caps nearly came off then. I've changed the end here because it originally had a flange, but because I had the rear differential rebuilt, the flange was not needed, and I needed this type of connection. So I'm just going to put this back on so that it doesn't fall off when I'm carrying it to the car. Bear with, bear with. There we go. So now you can see it's been balanced with washers. Guess that's the way they do it. So now let me get this in, and once this is in, then I can decide on the height of the gearbox. Okay, here we are underneath the car, as if you couldn't tell. There is my nice gearbox mount. That I got from AutoZone. It was one of the special hot rod ones. I think it's from a GM. But anyway, it fits the Tremec gearbox. I've now lined this up without going up too high. I'm hoping that Hang on a second. Come on, come on. Come on. Show me what you're showing me. Right. Yes, I know you've reached your point. It tells me it's reached its point. Okay, good. You've reached your point. I don't care. So I've not got the angle too sharp, and it's not perfectly level. I'm hoping, and this will be experimental, of course, that it'll be okay. If not, then I'm going to have to modify the mount, and then obviously I'm not going to discover this until the interior's in, and then I will have to modify that. So I've got my shaft in now, and you know I love doing that, and connected it up to the rear axle. Got a little bit of touch up to do on the paint. You know, it's unfortunately, you know, when you keep things stored for a long time, things get chipped, and I will paint these bits, get rid of those little chipmunks, and it will be a lot better. It got a bit dusty, but hell, when this is going on the road, it's going to get dusty anyway. But I will still clean it underneath because I'm an anal twit. I think I've got everything I need now for the exhaust. Let me see. Hang on a second. I'm going to try shifting you here. I'm going to use my... Oh, hang on. If I press and hold that, there you go. So, whoa! Oh no, he zoomed. Whoa! Stop it! Sorry, folks. All right, let's try that. Right. This camera's fighting me. That's because I don't know what I'm doing with it. That's the exhaust brackets there for the two silencers. There is another mount. I don't know if I can show you. Oops, it's zooming. Don't zoom. There it is there. That's another mount there. Then if we come here, there's another mount that goes on there. And it's interesting, the kit I bought didn't include that one. So I ended up buying another kit, and it's got that one and the donuts for this up here, which I've already got. So I think S&G Barrett or whoever does these kits needs to get their finger out their ass. There is no mounting points up here at all. It's just the straight pipes that hang down from the manifold. And that's it. And then it doesn't get mounted until you get to the mufflers here. Mufflers, silencers. All right. Sorry, we digressed there quite a bit. Now I've got to edit this shit. Because believe me, I was fighting the camera. Oh, and I've got to do that mount. Okay, let's get on with it. Okay, here is the mounting plate. That is where the various spacers are going at different lengths. As you can see, each one of them is a different length. That is because the floor is such a higgledy-piggledy shape. Obviously, they're not going to be on this side. They will be mounted on the other side. And then once they're in position, I will drill through them into the floor and make the brackets the other side that are going to give it the strength. I don't want to trust the floor. So I'll be doing a little more modification, shall we say, using pieces of steel inside the car, probably some flat iron. In fact, I bought a piece of flat iron, so it's probably 3/16, quarter of an inch thick. I think that will be enough, and I will weld nuts on that and then bolt through into it. If it doesn't work, I can still change it and make it different. So let's get these welded on and see how we go from there. So that I hold the spacers in a relatively correct position, I've used this piece of stud and a couple of nuts, and then I will weld it. Yes, I could have used a nut and a bolt, but I happen to have this stud around, so you use what you got around. Yeah, I got bolts as well, but this stud had nuts on it ready. Yeah, I could have chopped the stud off shorter, but why? Why waste a good piece of stud when all I needed to do was spin the nut up? Took me a few seconds. So I'm going to do that now with every spacer, and I'm going to weld up these two holes. The other spacers will go on these two holes here. They're already in the plate. I'll weld those two up to get them out the fucking way, and then I'll do the other spacers. All right, so there you go. That's what's going to happen there. I'm going to get these welded. I won't let you watch me welding because it's embarrassing. Yeah. It's kind of an odd looking plate, but there you go. The gearbox tunnel is kind of odd because of the overdrive that the car would normally have. Okay, that's it on this section. Let me get it done, and then we'll offer it up and see how it looks.